and sit under the trees and think, contemplate life. And so that's what we've got planned today. Just notice everyone that you might have just got the recording notice. So we are planning to record this session today so we can make it available on our YouTube channel for other folks if they just happen to miss it. And if anyone has a concern with that, you might want to leave now because we are gonna record it. But before we get started, we, especially just in light of recent days, we wanted to acknowledge with respect the Lekwungen speaking Coast Salish people on whose traditional territory we all live and work, and whose historical relationships with the land continue to this day. And in light of the most recent news from Kamloops, I think we're all thinking about ways to build stronger working relationships with all local First Nations with trust, humility, kindness, respect, and what it means to walk softly on these ancestral lands. And I know I speak for all of the VNCS board when we say that, our hearts are just broken with the news that's come out of Kamloops. And that's why I got my orange shirt on. It's the good right thing to do. These are all our children. Whew. So
thank you, Craig.
Without further ado, thank you everyone for joining us. And we are gonna keep things going. We got, like I said, we got a good program. We've got some Ikebana lesson that Michiko Sensei is gonna do. Then we're gonna follow that up with Shino-san, who's gonna tell us all about sake and stuff that's readily accessible. We had some really good stuff at the cultural fair back in October, the virtual fair. Thinking we might have maybe an in-person fair this year.
Yeah.
Going the way they are. But without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Tsugyo Kurushima, who is the president of the Victoria Nikkei Cultural Society, to open up our event this afternoon. So Tsugyo, over to you.
Thank you, Craig, and good afternoon to all. Welcome to our virtual Hanami celebration. We had originally planned an in-person Hanami gathering for late April at the Royal Roads University Japanese Garden, but due to the third wave of the pandemic, that had to be canceled. However, this virtual celebration does have its advantages. It's more accessible, it is weatherproof, and you can consume as much sake as you want without having to worry about driving home. So that's a bonus. I want to thank the organizing committee for arranging this event and the two presenters, Michiko Seguev and Shino Yamashiro, for donating their time and talents. I hope you enjoy this presentation of both traditional and contemporary Japanese culture. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Thanks, Tsugyo. So that's great. Thanks, Tsugyo. It's always fun doing these events with the VNCS. I think we did a housekeeping note. Originally, we had said if folks wanted to ask questions ahead of time, you could email info@vncs.ca. We did not receive any emails yet for questions, so we decided to allow the chat window. And it's being moderated by Natsuki. She's behind the Victoria Nikkei Cultural Society logo up there. So if you do have questions for either Michiko Sensei or Shino-san later on, you can just put them in the chat window there, and Yukari and I will look for ways to interrupt and or get your question in there at an opportune time.
Yeah, great.
So Yukari-san, did you want to introduce Michiko-san?
Yes. Okay, so we're starting with Michiko Sensei's Ikebana demonstration. Just going to read her profile. Michiko Seguev, she's originally from Tokyo. She started to have a strong interest in Ikebana in her early childhood, as she accompanied her mother to her mother's Ikebana lessons at Ohara School. Later on, at her work in an advertising agency, her passion for Ikebana was rekindled when she had a chance to arrange flowers for work. She resumed studying Ikebana under Soraku Sogetsu School and obtained a teaching certificate. She has been teaching Ikebana since her arrival in Victoria and providing BNCS Ikebana classes for more than 15 years. So I guess without further ado, we'll have Michiko Sensei, and Suzanne will be explaining Michiko Sensei's Ikebana. There you go.
Okay, great. You can see that Michiko has pre-arranged one form for you to look at. And the reason we chose to show this one first is because this is the basic upright style of Moribana. This is the first arrangement that everybody learns when they begin studying Ikebana. And it shows all of the basic elements that we use in all the arrangements. So she did this one ahead of time. And in a minute, we're going to walk through step by step how to construct something like that. It's in a Moribana container, which is the flat, low one. And that's always used for the basic upright form. The basic upright form also uses a kanzan, the heavy needlepoint holder. And in this form, it's positioned at near the front left of the container. Now she's going to show you, she's going to show you how to make one in a rectangular container, but the principles will be the same. So starting from scratch, you can see where she's got her kanzan positioned toward the front. Well, front left from the guest side. For her, it's the front right. And she's going to place the first stem, which is the most important one. Oh. Okay. The first stem that she's going to place is called the shin. And she'll have to cut it to be the correct size for the container. And she's going to arrange it so that it will be approximately 15 degrees from the straight vertical.
10 to 15.
Yeah, 10 to 15. It's not exact. We had one student once that wanted to use a protractor, and we said, no, that's not necessary. The second stem, soe, is about 3/4 the size of the shin, the same material, and it's positioned about 45 degrees from the vertical and a bit toward the guest. And the last element is the hikai, the floral element, which will be the shortest one, positioned toward the front and about a 75-degree angle, so very low over the container. You can see on the overhead camera where she's put those stems into her kanzan. And you can see from the front camera how the angles will look. Now she's going to fill in some subordinate materials to create depth in the arrangement. So they're the same as the front one, same type of flower. So she'll fill in some spaces, but still it's very important to have big spaces. It's really important to see the space between the shin and the soe and the hikai. So the three elements, the basic element should form a triangle.
Susan, we've got a question from the chat box asking, can you explain what the species of the stems are?
Okay, this first stem is the,
This is a forsythia.
Forsythia.
But the first one is a Siberian dogwood, and the wintertime turn to the color, the red. So people call it red,
Siberian red dogwood.
Dogwood. And my highly recommended dogwood is a very good material for Ikebana because so flexible to bend. You can make many different shapes, and also you can enjoy the 4 seasons because they have white flower, early spring. Winter is beautiful red, turn to the red color. So that's if you're thinking new plant, so that's probably a very good one.
And the flowers that she's working with here are the spray mums, which are always available like all year round in Victoria. She'll, in addition to putting those small spray mums in the back, she's also putting little pieces of the forsythia around the base. So when she adds those subordinate things, we call that jushi, to sort of fill in the space. I think somebody in the chat wrote a question about the color of the flowers. In this case, it doesn't matter. In Victoria, we can't always get exactly what we want. So some of what they would do in Japan, we do differently here because we don't have the wide variety of floral elements available to us in the stores, and especially the branches. So forsythia in Victoria is common, and it's also pretty bendy, but it's a lot easier to find than the Siberian red dogwood.
Sorry. A little difficult for the camera. The angle is probably not exactly.
I think it looks good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. In a minute, she's going to put a background up so you'll be able to see the lines of the arrangement better. So here you can see the 15 degrees and the 45 and the 75 more clearly. And the triangle from the top of the shin to the top of the soe to the end of the hikai. And then there's little triangles composed of the hikai and the subordinate stems, but still lots of space. Space for the chi to flow through, the spirit of Ikebana. Now she's going to move on to do a variation called variation 5. So each form in the Ikebana lessons in the textbook will have a form, a reverse of that form, and then a couple of variations. So variation 5, you know, in the first 2 arrangements that you saw, there was 1 kenzan. In variation 5, you have to clean up a bit. Variation 5, we have a split kenzan. So it's a special type of kenzan that we call sun moon. So there's a round one and a half moon one, and they fit together like a puzzle piece. And she's going to show it to you in a minute. So Michiko, do
Yes.
you have your extra kenzans?
Yes, I have here.
Yeah.
Here is
So the full moon, if you look on the overhead camera, the full moon, the half moon, and they fit together to make an oval. But in this arrangement, we're using them separately. So you can see all the same elements as in the previous arrangement, except that the hikai is on its own kenzan. So the shin and the soe, you can still see the 15 and 45. The hikai is still at 75, but it's on its own kenzan, and we can see more water in between. And that's what we call more of a landscape approach. So you can see water between the elements, and there's more space. Can you see the 15, 75, and 45? So those are peonies for that person that wanted to know all the varieties. And the branch is Wegala, I think. Wegala Florida.
side.
Nice.
F's is very important.
Yeah. So although she makes the arrangement so that the angles look correct from the front, the guest side, it's also important that you should be able to still admire it from the sides, because where it's placed, somebody might be walking into a room and seeing it from the side first. So that's important too.
So this one is number 5 variation. Its most important part is some teachers said through the wind. Some teachers said through the water is floating. So that's this space is most important part. And this is a landscape.
Landscape. So you need a large container to be able to have room to see that water.
This way. Okay.
Variation number 5. So it's still basic upright, but it's the variation. Miyako had a question about, is this a summer arrangement because you can see water? Not necessarily. You could do that in the winter as well. Now, Michiko Sensei has to clean up a bit and get set for the next segment. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, we call this Kadensho, the flowering spirit. So the founder of the Sogetsu school was Sofu Teshigahara, and he introduced the concepts of form and movement. He explained that Ikebana is an art of space, the space between the branches, the space between the flowers and the leaves, and the space between masses of flowers. In other words, the space between the branches and the flowers comes alive. The space is plentiful, and it should project tension and power. Sofu also talked a lot about manual dexterity. A minute ago, Michiko was talking about bending the Siberian dogwood branch. So technique and manual dexterity are extremely important in Ikebana. Without a well-developed technique, you cannot master Ikebana. However, technique is only a tool for an expression of what resides in your heart. Technique should never be allowed the upper hand. Recently in our Ikebana Zoom classes, she was telling people during the COVID, we didn't always have good materials to practice cutting and practice bending. Now we're moving on to an homage to Kasumi Teshigahara, who was the second Ayamoto. She was the daughter of Sofu. And she was born in 1932. And she became a teacher at quite a young age. She had been studying Ikebana under her father since childhood, and she started teaching only 18. When she was 20, she had her first exhibition of Ikebana. And she visited many parts of the world to teach and demonstrate Ikebana, and she played an important role in promoting international friendship and goodwill through Ikebana. So she had a book that she published that was called Ikebana for All Seasons. And Michiko sometimes uses that book, the pictures in the book, as inspiration. And it's not an exact copy, but this work is inspired by one of the pictures in the book, Ikebana for All Seasons. Beautiful. So she's going to put it in the back. We can still admire it in the background. The next thing we're going to show you is a form emphasizing line. And She has a very unique container. We think it's from the 50s. So it has 3 separate cylindrical containers attached together. And it gives a good vehicle to show you 3 different ways. When it's not Moribana and you can't use a Kenzan, you have to practice other techniques for how to make the stems stand up the way you want them or bend the way you want them. So she's going to show you 3. First of all, we'll admire the arrangement. So papyrus, she trimmed around the edges of the leaves. She's got iris and allium in there. So they all have some bold lines.
Yes, this concept is line.
Yeah, this concept that we're demonstrating is line. So one of the ways that she's going to show you how to attach, how to make something stand up in those containers without a Kenzan is you could make a crossbar.
This is more in the middle.
Yeah, the iris one has this method. So you can wedge a twig into the container. This one that she's showing you is square, but you can do it in round ones too. And this time she's got 2, but I think in the iris one, you only have 1, don't you?
Yes, I changed the color on purpose so you can see well.
So here she made it with 2 colors so that you can see that there's two separate twigs.
But this is, I just wanted to show the
Yeah.
line, the crossbar. The next one.
Another way to do it is to take a stem. Some flowers have stems that are hollow, and she used a calla lily in one of the other arrangements. No, one that's coming up. So you could take the, are you showing the calla lily one?
Nope.
Oh, no, which one?
This one is papyrus.
Oh, the zigzag. Okay. So the way she fixed the papyrus in that arrangement in the back is she took some extra stems and bent them into a zigzag shape and wedged that into the container. So that's what you can see clearly from the overhead camera. So there's no Kenzan, it's all natural material, but it will still, it'll hold those papyrus stems up to create the line that she wants. You're just using a different flower here, but that is how the papyrus were fixed in the previous arrangement. Otherwise, if you stuck 2 irises in there, they would just go to the edge of the container. They wouldn't stand up straight. Patty Kagawa asked a question, are they all in water? Yes, they're all in water.
I just wanted to show the technique. This is a dimension to know exactly what to the arrangement. So that, but you can do the straight to make. Okay, so this is
And we have one more trick up her sleeve.
yes.
She took the bottom of calla lily that's used in the arrangement that's coming up.
Right
And the
here.
calla lily is one of those ones that has a hollow stem. And you can use that when you have a very skinny stem that won't fit into a Kenzan too. So the skinny stem can go inside the hole in the fatter stem. And it can be used to prop it up. Clever, no?
And this day
Yeah.
And
that's how the allium was supported in this one.
mhm.
The allium is the one on the left.
So,
Laureen Oikawa asked a question, do we have to put anything in the water to make the stay fresh? We don't, but it is recommended that you change the water frequently.
and before make arrangement, always cut the inside the water.
Oh, yeah, and keep the stems in the water while you're waiting to make the arrangements also. So we all have to arrive in class with big buckets full of flowers and water. We're getting good questions.
Okay, and another things.
I like to see the way the papyrus was trimmed. So you can see in its original form and then how she trimmed it.
Nice.
And you don't have to do that. Sometimes you want it big, it depending on what
No,
arrangement
you
you're
don't
doing.
need to do that. It's just in this case, it's
Kinda crowded.
yeah, so modern shape is just made a little modern line.
Yeah,
That's it. And you can bend.
papyrus is a nice bendy stem.
Yeah.
And bending it won't hurt it, like it'll still last as long.
Mhm. Okay.
You know, sometimes in a flower arrangement that you buy, if there's a bent stem, it will be no good. The flower will die soon, but in this case, it'll be fine. Very nice.
Okay, so this one is a straight. Next. Yes.
Now we have one more thing she wants to show you, and that is you don't have to confine yourself to the special expensive Ikebana containers. Sometimes very odd found objects can make an interesting arrangement. So this piece that she got, somebody gave it to her. What's it made of, Michiko? Is it metal?
I think, yes,
Yeah,
the metal.
but
And,
it has a hole in it, so it would never hold water.
so this is not Ikebana container.
No,
Uh,
yeah,
so, you know, even if you don't have a container, you can make arrangement. You
Yeah.
can make Ikebana. So I find this, I just love it. I don't know what's happened, but I got it. And I have another metal container and I put in, it was just perfect.
so that metal container won't stand up by itself. You can't use it by itself, but
Yeah, it's just a perfect
yeah,
size. It was just, yeah, actually not going to the bottom. It's hanging.
yeah. Oh, I see. So it'll fit in there. Neither one of those would work for this arrangement on their own,
Yes.
but
yes.
together they
Well,
make
how
it
about,
perfect.
yes, just maybe empty can.
Yeah.
You can put
So
in.
sometimes we collect odd things like tree roots and seaweed and weird stuff
Yes.
that makes good visual effect. So the calla lily, when she put that in with just the metal container, it made the whole thing fall over. But because that other mystery object is holding it, it's heavier, it's holding it down.
Yes. And
So,
this is, you know, this time it's celebration, Hanami. I just put in the three greens, three different type of greens and the three flowers. So one of them is this is a chives.
chive blossoms.
So not from a flower shop.
Yeah. She's got crocosmia leaves, and it looks like the leaf of a Japanese anemone, maybe. What's the third green?
Evergreen, which one? This one? This is a Japanese anemone.
Yeah, we got the anemone and the crocosmia. What you said there
Oh,
were
this is
three.
the eucalypt. Eucalypt.
Eucalyptus. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I see on the top, kind of gray green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she's got the calla lily, the deutzia, and the chive blossom. Chive blossoms are out right now, so everybody can go out and pick one and make an arrangement later.
Hmm.
We're just about perfect for time, Michiko.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So should I cut a little bit more? No camera, is this okay?
Yes, it is.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It looks very
here,
full from above.
the black color maybe.
Now, so two found objects, 6 kind of materials. It's very nice, Michiko.
Thank you. Okay. Well, this time it's a little bit colorful. I used a little bit extra color. The top camera is okay. Oh, sorry, this is not good.
I somehow lost my video. There we go.
Okay. So this concept is even you don't have a container, even not, any kind of flower containers, you can use from the kitchen, from your basement, something you can find. And then please enjoy your arrangement. Ikebana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to end by talking about a quote from Sofu Tashigahara, where he said, Ikebana is not just about sticking a flower into a vase. It's about the love and need of the artist to create a beautiful form. Ikebana is not just about flowers. It's about the person who arranges them. So there we go. Michiko arranged beautifully because she's arranging from her beautiful spirit.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And after this, you can enjoy the sake too. So enjoy the Hanami Festival. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michiko Sensei. Thanks,
you.
Susan.
Did
Thank
we have
you,
any
Susan.
questions we didn't address?
Yeah, there's a couple there. So there was one, let me go back. Is there a limit to the number of flowers in an arrangement?
In the basic forms, there's a limit of the number of types of flowers, but in the freestyle arrangements, not. So like we wouldn't, in a basic form, like the first one she did, the basic upright Moribana, you wouldn't use a rose and a carnation. You'd use 3 roses or 5 roses.
No carnation. This is peony.
No, I meant,
Sorry.
so the question that they asked was, could you use more than
Oh,
one?
yeah. Carnation, yes. No, well.
So I just used an example.
Yes, okay, yes, that's right. And also the Japanese, every plate is not even number, flower is the same. So 357 is Japanese balance number, beauty balance. So if you go to the Japanese garden, you can see the big rock on the garden number, that's 7%. 5% next big rock has one more rock, and then azalea flower, that's a 3. So that's 7, 5, 3. So each the balance, the flowers in the container, not even number. Everything odd numbers. That's
Interesting. That's good to know.
I didn't know. Thank you.
And there was another question there earlier. Oh, actually, that was from you, Yukari. Are all the these flowers available in local florists, or where do you get your material?
Where do you get them? Yeah.
Do you want to know flower shop?
They're not all easily found, and especially not in, like, she told me that yesterday she went to 2 places to get all her flowers, but sometimes before the cultural fair we have to go to 3, 4, 5 places to get everything. So some of the materials from her garden, from her yard.
And I think you can just be nice to the next neighbor, so you can get a lot of different variety. Not necessarily always a store. But one more thing is we have a wonderful new store. If you go the gardener's kit, you can get the Japanese Ikebana scissors and the Kenzans. Because that's all import from Japan, 100%. And it's probably, yes, you can find something if you're looking for Ikebana Kenza.
Oh, gardener's kit?
Gardener's kit.
I just stuck the link in the chat window there for everybody.
Great. Thank you.
Gardenerskit.com.
Wow.
Good.
Excellent.
I see that somebody asked a question. What was Sensei wrapping around the bottom of the lily stem? That the bottom of the calla lily?
The bottom, the elastic band.
Oh, did you? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was when you were, Sensei, when you were doing that last piece that you stuck in.
Yes, it's because it's so easy to crack the bottom.
Oh.
And this one was closed, very fresh, so very, very tight. But I wanted to use today on time, so I needed to be open. So I took the elastic band and put in the bucket. So the color lily was opened.
Then it will open.
So yes. So now I want to a little bit to keep this size. So that's why elastic band back again.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there more questions that we missed?
I think we got most of them.
I'm just scrolling. I think we got most of them.
Great.
Good stuff.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
All right. So we're moving on to the next part of the virtual Hanami.
That's right. So if you've got your sake bottles handy, Yukari, are you all kitted out there?
I am. I'm ready. So I think we're going to have Shino get ready. While she's getting ready, I'm going to introduce her, if I may. Shino Yamashiro. Shino is a sake specialist certified as an international Kiki Sake Shi by SSI, that's the Sake Service Institute in Japan, and a menu developer at Ine Raw Food and Sake Bar, where more than 50 selections of sake are served and is the very first sake bar in Victoria. Shino was very much inspired and fell in love with the unique world of sake 4 years ago. Shino found that many local guests love wine and also have a great curiosity towards sake when she introduced them to all the breadth and complexity that sake has to offer. Introducing sake and making it more approachable to people became her passion. She wants to encourage people to enjoy sake as is or by pairing with varieties of food, not just Japanese food. She now hopes that a sake menu becomes more and more popular at restaurants. Shino-san, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
I guess
And we
should
have
probably introduce
special
our testers as well. We thought Yukari and I, we really lucked out at the virtual cultural fair back in October last year. We got to be the testers, and then we were like, hey, that's unfair if we keep being the ones to drink all the good sake. So we have Ian and Spencer joining us today, and we're welcome to have like a fully non-scripted sake tasting event for you today, and we'll see how the guys make out here.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Shino-san.
All right, Shino, over to you.
Okay, so I picked two sake today for the I say spring sake, but it doesn't mean this sake made in spring time. Sake production is only once a year. That's maybe people don't know about, but usually December to March, that's the most busiest time for the brewery. Sake, basically why sake making is happening in winter time is because there was no refrigeration back in the day. There's no technology. If the sake is basically you're treating. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, sorry, it froze in my screen.
Yeah, it froze, but we can still hear you.
Okay, good. So yeah, basically there was no refrigeration, and then you're treating this very fragile enzymes and bacteria, those kind of things. So you wanted to prevent any bad bacteria growth happen. So only winter time was the production time back in the day. But now it's the refrigeration technology is very advanced. So I think a lot of some breweries stick with tradition, making only winter time, but you could make sake whole year round. Like Adasai is the largest, most known like world brand of sake, and Hakutsuru, which is this sayuri is Hakutsuru, made in Hakutsuru. This brewery making whole year round sake production. But sake definitely have a season to, certain sake definitely have a season to enjoy. I choose these because sayuri is spring is very colorful and a cheerful time. So sayuri is perfect, like pink. It reminds me spring too. And the flavor wise and the aroma, it's like strawberry and floral notes. It's basically like spring. And also sparkling sake is really popular in Japan right now. Sparkling sake is great for, I would say winter time, I mean the springtime to summertime as well. It's super refreshing. It's same as like, like I love drinking beer during the summertime. A lot of brewmaster apparently love drinking beer too. But anyways, so yeah, it doesn't mean this sake made in spring, but usually sake schedule is very different from regular calendar schedule. Like the beginning of the year is January usually, but the sake schedule is starting from May, because May, June. So right now the sake planting is starting. So May, June is a planting season. Planting a sake rice in the field, and then July and August, the summertime is the growing time. So maintenance, all these rice field, and then growing time. And then September, November is a cultivation, and as well as releasing a previous year's sake. So this is another thing maybe people don't know. Sake is mature in tank for 6 months, and then they release it. It's not like after they do the whole process and then you bottle it and then ship it right away. It's not like that. You mature it at least 6 months. So September, November is the cultivation as well as a releasing for the previous year. And then the winter time, which is December to March, is the production. The very, very busy. I saw on Netflix, I think there's not on the Netflix anymore, but there was Ishikawa Prefecture. There's a documentary about the Toji, which is the brewmasters, this production season. It was very intense. You need to say goodbye to your family because you need to take care of sake 24 hours, 7 days, 24 hours, 7 days.
Shoot.
Shino, I think we lost your audio.
Putting so much effort. It was very cool documentary. Maybe you can find it. It's called Shatta Shuzo, Shatta Brewery, and Netflix. Maybe you can find on YouTube. It's really cool documentary. Yeah. So, and then also the springtime is actually, there is a sake released. It's called Rishun Asashibori, which means Rishun means beginning of spring, and Asashibori means morning squeezing. So that's it's kind of like the releasing Beaujolais Nouveau. It's usually November third week of Thursday. I think that's the French law to release Beaujolais Nouveau. Same as Nihonshu Nouveau is February 3rd. Every year, February 3rd is Chinese New Year's. So that.
Oh no, goes again.
しのさん、聞こえますか? While we wait for Shino,
Get it. It's a very limited
Oh.
version.
しのさん、聞こえます? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're cutting off a little bit.
Am I?
Yeah, we lost you a little bit.
Where should I go back?
And can anyone remember?
Did I talk about the Beaujolais Nouveau?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we heard
Okay.
that part.
February 3rd, we kind of lost you just
Right.
after the February 3rd.
Okay.
I also wanted to mention, so everyone's asking question on the chat and keep the questions coming, but we'll maybe do the question at the very end. But everyone feel free to post your questions, but Shino, maybe you can answer them at the end.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh no.
Your connection.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Now it shows you muted, Shino.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry, I'm not going to talk too long, but spring sake is coming out on February 3rd, which is like a Nihonshu version of Beaujolais Nouveau, which is limited and then super fresh. You need to book ahead to get that sake. And it's super fresh sake, so it's not pasteurized or mature. So the taste is really fresh, but some people say too wild. It's kind of like a little kid, not stable. It's always better after mature some sake. It's same as like when you make a batch of stew, when you just made it versus 2 days after, it's always more, the flavor is more balanced and mature and settle. It kind of same idea, but it's really cool idea to get the fresh squeezed sake. Personally, I never tried before. I tried non-pasteurized sake, and then we have it at Ine too, so you can come try. Unpasteurized sake is very unique. It's very fresh, and then it's almost tingle your tongue, kind of like a natural bubbliness to it. It's really cool. Yes. Should we taste?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Is
Do you
that
have any question? Sorry.
is that unpasteurized sake? Is it hard to find? Like if you wanted to just, I know you can maybe get it at the restaurant, but could you get it at a store at all, or is that
Not. I don't think like BC liquor store has unpasteurized sake. It's really hard to, because the reason why pasteurized sake is because you wanted to longer the shelf life, because the sake is alive. So usually brewers pasteurize twice. When it's in a tank, pasteurize once, and then after you bottle it, pasteurize one more time. But so I think for the import.
Oh no. She's cut out on our end, sorry.
しのさん、聞こえますか？また音が途切れちゃった。
Yep, we lost your audio.
Hello.
Oh, now we've got it back.
We can see you, but your sound kind
Oh
of,
my God.
it's back now, but I don't know,
Oh my God.
unpredictable.
Sorry.
It's back now though.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a little bit hard to find it because the quality, the brewer must need to make sure that this distributor, importer can keep the quality. So they need to have a refrigerated container importing from Japan to all the way to Canada. So it's cost more too. So it's pretty rare. But you can, there are a lot of, it's called spec sake, the special sake. It's not on the shelf, but if you go private liquor store, you could maybe find it. I think depend on the liquor store manager, if they like a sake, there are importers. And Ine, we're dealing with 9 importers, and we have a unpasteurized sake too, and also namazake, which is zero pasteurized. So there one's pasteurization and not at all pasteurization, like a baby. It's very fragile. It's really hard to. The bottle is black, so because try to unoxidize and then prevent from the light exposure. Yeah, so yeah, but if you want, you should come to Ine too. You can try.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, so if we went to a private liquor store, that's the sort of lingo we should use, as like a spec sake, so they'd know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vessel used to have. Do you know Vessel liquor store on Fort?
I think so. Yeah.
They have a really good.
It's at Oak Bay Junction, right?
Yes.
Vessel,
They have a really good selection, as well as a Fort and Foul Bay BC liquor store. They might have a little bit size one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Should we
All right.
taste?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, where do we begin?
Okay, so let's start with the sparkling sake.
Sparkling one.
Sparkling.
Okay.
So this one
mine
is
here.
called, and then don't shake.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Sometimes you see a settlement and then people try to shake it, but if you do that, it will burst.
Smells really clean.
Yeah.
Smells good.
And you have a really nice glass, so, and I also like this kind of glass. This is a tasting glass, but you can have with the champagne glass or wine glass as well.
We were just wondering, how much should we pour? Is this? I'm not sure if you can see this or not very well.
Oh
but
yeah.
Also, I guess we can try to show the color. It's It's got a slight hue of yellow to it as well, but actually maybe not. It's actually pretty clear.
So this is called Yoshinogawa Sparkling. This brewery is in Niigata Prefecture, northern part of Japan. And I wanted to get the aroma. Where do you get it, Spencer?
Now it smells like sake to me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Smells like sake.
We're not the most experienced sake tasters, but we've definitely been to your restaurant a few times and tried the flights you have, which were really, really good.
Oh,
but
yay.
we are fairly naive to a lot of the tasting notes in sake.
No. I love talking to people. Like one time it was really fun thing was Junmai Daiginjo. This guest never had sake before. And then he tried and it's like, oh, it tastes like bubble gum or like licorice or something like I never thought of. But sometimes those comment and inspire me. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm gonna pair with dessert or something, you know? But there's no right or wrong.
There's a comment in chat, but if anyone else in the audience have a chance to pick up some sake, maybe let us know. I have one here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
To me, this smells like and tastes like Sprite. It's really sweet.
Right.
It is sweet.
Yeah.
This is really
Like the first thing I thought was like, this is like Sprite.
Yeah, this is dangerous.
This is like
Yeah, it's very
really
sweet.
good.
But yeah, it's kind of like maybe little bit not carbonated spot.
Not as fizzy.
Like a little.
No, it's really smooth as well, and it doesn't have any sort of. It doesn't have that sort of alcohol to it either. But I think it is quite light. I'm not sure if you guys.
7.5.
It's 7.5% as well.
It is really light.
Is that
and-
typical of sparkling sakes? Is it lighter than
Yes.
most still sakes?
Usually, yes. I get the yogurty kind of
Mm.
taste. That's the koji taste.
The
But-
koji taste? Is that a type of? Is that a region?
Koji is the mold.
Oh, the mold.
Yeah, so that's the enzyme. You put so basically sake is made with 4 ingredients: water, rice, yeast, and koji. So koji is the mold you inoculated on the rice, and then they will break down starch, convert into sugar, and then bubble the CO2. But this one, as Yukari-san said, it tastes like Sprite, very sweet. But the sweetness, there's no sugar in it. The sweetness is coming from pure starch,
Whoa.
like from rice.
Is there a way to? I guess we kind of rushed over it, but is there a way to taste sake? Should we hold it in our mouth a certain way, or should we like have it on our tongue a certain way, or hold it in our mouth for a certain amount of time before we swallow it, or what's the
I
recommended?
would say just don't shoot it.
Okay.
Some people shoot it and like no, just there's no really
Milan taste.
there's no strict rules. You
Okay.
can enjoy. I want you to enjoy maybe if the Junmai Daiginjo or Ginjo style, which is the premium one, those have a really great aroma. I usually recommend with the wine glass because you can hold a lot of aroma. But yeah, pouring portion like as you did, Spencer, it's like not too much, not all the way, just a little bit. And the sake cups is usually, yeah, that's good. And then this sake actually got the 2 awards. It's called Kuramaster France 2019. So this is the competition of Japanese sake competition, but the French people will vote. And then this one was a 2019 sparkling. I think the sparkling section, and this got the, I think, 2nd or 3rd medal or something. Yeah.
Nice.
Aftertaste, you can really, it's really landing really light like a feather.
Where does this usually sit in like the price range for normal sake?
This sake or normal, like usually, general sake, generally, the
Yeah,
sake.
yeah, I guess like compared to, I guess not to jump ahead, but is this going to be a lot more expensive or than other still sake, or is it
Oh,
going
the
to?
sparkling?
Yeah.
No, no. I think sparkling sake is relatively affordable price because the size wise too. Usually they make a smaller bottle, 300 ml. It's more like 720, 720 ml much. This size, and then also actually if there are two type of sparkling sake. This one is a CO2 gas injected, so it's relatively cheaper. But there's another type of sake. It's called it's like a champagne method. So second fermentation starting. Those are a little bit expensive.
A little bit more expensive. How much more expensive are you looking at? Like maybe like a lot more than I don't know, more than $30, or
I would say maybe 3 times more.
3 times more than this one.
Mm.
Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to like keep smelling it. I'm just trying to pin down like the smell of. It's almost like a light beer.
I don't know.
But it's like not really. I'm trying to describe it like it's a taste.
But I think it's because of the koji, the fermented, aroma.
Yeah, it's mainly just on the nose, but it's not like when you actually taste it, it doesn't taste like beer. It's just that sort of smell you get. It's hard to describe, but yeah, because otherwise I can't really say what that smell is. But
yeah,
but it is really good though.
Yeah, a little bit more. This is dangerous. This is easy.
Yeah, it goes down too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Shino, it looks like you muted yourself by accident.
You said not to shoot it, but I can see yourself drinking this very fast.
Oh, it's almost like just drinking sparkling water. Like
I know.
Juice. Like you get that really sweet hint as soon as it touches your mouth, and then you it's just
almost like a light white grape juice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a very fruity. I smell the fruit. Yeah.
Almost like a silky aftertaste as well. It's like not really hard or anything like that. Just a bit of a hint. No, it's really, really good.
So I put the link in chat, but this particular bottle, this is not very big, right? This one's $13.99, 300 ml.
300 ml.
Yeah.
So
pretty affordable.
But if you drink it this fast, I don't know how long it lasts. It's pretty good.
I usually this sparkling or nigori sake, those are very kind of like unorthodox type of sake, and I think it's more sweeter. And sometimes I introduce those for people say they had a bad experience with sake, and it kind of changed their perspective of sake. It's very fun. Like there are sparkling, there are sweet sake, there are so many variety, and then and then I sometimes suggest this as the starter, aperitif or digestive. If people don't like the dessert at the end, those are great too.
If I were in a store and I saw is there a way to tell between the gas sort of injected sparkling sakes versus the more naturally fermented sakes? Is there a term or some keyword that I should be looking for? Just because if you could probably tell by price, but I wasn't sure if you just had 2 bottles, could you tell the difference between the two?
That's a good question. You just need to see the ingredients.
And then it'll say, it actually has carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other thing about sake, the label.
Oh no, you're frozen.
We've lost Shino's audio and video.
One more.
Yeah, we can do more.
I guess you guys can keep drinking then.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Sorry, Shino, you were talking
Shino's
about.
back.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The labeling, sometimes it's hard to what is this? I cannot read this. And that's another thing. we were talking to distributor that we should be more, this is great to keep it as authentic as it is, but we should have more description to easy to understand. So I understand people, that's another thing, kind of like people don't know and scared about what is like, you know, just want to go for wine at the price wise too. And unfortunately, sake is very expensive. In Japan, it's pretty good price, but a lot of taxes and yeah. But these are they are very approachable one too, especially the small one, small bottle. And the next one, should we go next one, Sayuri?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can.
Okay. So this one has a little bit more creamy texture to it. So I didn't want it to start with this because it's gonna coat your mouth.
Yeah, this is a cute little bottle.
Yes.
I have a question, Shino-san.
Hey.
Before. So mine look like there's like a sediment on the bottom. Can I just do that? Okay, because this is not sparkling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, please shake it. That's a good call.
Okay, I have a unshaken one. But as you can see, I'm not sure if you can tell how cloudy it is.
Quite opaque, yeah.
But yeah, but it's also got. Well, no, yeah, it is.
It's quite a bit creamier. It's more viscous.
Smells almost like yogurt.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ah.
Look at that too.
So Sayuri means the literal meaning is little lily. The
Cheers,
flower.
everyone.
Cheers.
Oh, it's different.
How is it?
It's not quite as sweet.
Yeah, this one is
It's
dry.
Yeah.
Spencer, you don't like it?
Oh, it's good. I was trying to figure out what the taste. It's kind of like wine where it leaves that kind of the bitterness or the tannins on the end, but like the sake equivalent, I guess.
I hope the sake is not old. You know, the liquor store
Oh.
sometimes.
Oh.
Oh no, it's still good.
No, it's still good. Yeah, it's good. It's just different. It's and like you said, it's drier.
Polar opposites. You got one that's light and one that's a little more, I guess, heavy tasting.
Do you taste a little bit alcoholic
Yeah, a little bit more.
aftertaste?
And this one's
There's 11,
12. Is it 12.5%?
Yeah, it's a lot like yogurt, and it has stronger aftertaste.
Yeah, this one's 12.5%. So it's a bit more. That's about half as a half more. So
Maybe because after Awayuki was such a sweetness to it, so it will be maybe a little bit better after they. Sorry.
oh no,
No,
it's
it's so
no,
good.
no, no, it's still good. It's just different. That's all we were trying to say, I think. But
my thinking face was on.
yeah.
But this have such a creamy, like the texture is the biggest thing about nigori. It's very creamy. It's like almost like looks like milkshake, and then it's creamy. And this creamy, rich texture is really good with when I think about the food pairing. The texture is one of the key component. So I did the takoyaki. Have you tried takoyaki before?
I don't think so. No.
It's like a little bowl. It's like octopus.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
a battered octopus ball.
Yeah,
Sounds pretty good.
So that's like a creamy texture, and then this creaminess goes really well.
So the nigori that's the creamy style of sake, is that right?
Yes. So usually sake filtered twice. Filtered with.
Oh no, you're frozen. Or we don't have
Lost your
audio.
audio.
we lost you after it filtered twice.
Oh no. I can't hear her.
Yeah, now you're back.
Okay, sorry. So the first filtration is cheesecloth. Squeeze it, and after that, the second filtration is you put the charcoal. So charcoal filtration. So more smaller like settlement. It's all the impurity is going down on the bottom, and you just scoop the top, the purity of the sake part. But this one, the Nigori sake is filtered, coarsely filtered.
Okay.
What causes the difference between the color, like in making this quite white compared to the?
Yeah, because it's a coarsely filtered. The cheesecloth, the cloth is more like rougher, so it's all the starch is coming through.
Right. Oh, I see.
And then this Nigori style is actually it's like a moonshine. Back in the day, all the sake was made, looks like this Nigori, because there's no filtration technology, or like there's no technology was developed to filter clear, get the purity. So everything looked like a Nigori style back in the day, like very long time ago, like 1400 years ago or something.
Should we also serve this one chilled as well? Or is this like a room temperature thing, or?
This one, I would say both are chilled. I recommend both chilled. And this one is great with the creamy texture, like okonomiyaki, maybe great with cream cheese. Also the spicy food as well. Like I pair with the vindaloo curry, the Indian spicy curry. It was really good.
Nice.
It's kind of like
sweet. Once you get used to it, it actually tastes almost more sweet.
It does, yeah. It's not
than
as
the first one.
It's mainly when you went from this one to like there's a huge.
Maybe we should clean our palate with the water between.
Yeah, because initially I didn't think it was as sweet, but it definitely is sweeter.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, after you have a few
It's
sips of it.
almost like an organic yogurt. Like if you had organic yogurt,
Yeah.
like a Greek yogurt or something.
Should we do questions?
Yeah, the only thing I was wondering though, like since it's open now, how long does it last?
Yeah, I think that was one of the questions in the chat as well.
Yeah, so usually I recommend, if it's the premium sake, I mean Junmai Daiginjo, Ginjo category sake, those are the very aromatic, refined sake. Those are, I would say, within 3 days is the best.
Wow. Okay.
Drink up.
Yeah.
So that answers Natsuki's question, because she said she doesn't drink a lot. So how quick does she have to drink it all?
Natsuki, the answer is 3 days.
Is that 3 days refrigerated?
Yeah, if you wanted to keep this beautiful aroma, it doesn't mean it turn into vinegar. Right. It's not like it's gonna go really bad. It's still good, and the sake never go, really, really bad. I never had like, the wine could be very like turn into vinegar like, but sake it's like there is no aroma, is gone, and maybe aftertaste is a little bit more alcoholic-y, but it never really bad. And then I always like to use for the cooking as well when it's open for a while. Cooking is the best way. And also you can pour into your bathtub.
Sake bath.
Yeah.
Good for your skin. Yeah.
This may be a broad question though, like, is there a way to tell good quality sake from bad quality sake? Is that I don't know.
From the looking of it?
Well, I'm not really sure, because like
just in general.
Yeah, like I know that in some situations, like for example with wine, like
you
can mask the quality of a wine by making it more sugary or sweet and that kind of thing. So I wasn't sure how could you tell if for a beginner taster, if you know something's of good quality aside from the price, how can you tell, or what are you supposed to taste, or I know it's a difficult question, but it's
no, they are like not good or bad, but there are variety of sake. And then if it's called junmai, if there's a sake say junmai on the label, that means pure sake, which is made of only this 4 component: water, rice, yeast, koji. But there are non-junmai type. If this sake say not junmai, that means some distilled alcohol sometimes added.
Okay.
So it's not pure, but it doesn't mean, those are bad sake. But some people really like to stick to the pure. So nigori and sparkling is a different category. So it doesn't really say, but there are some junmai daiginjo, which is the ultra premium style sake sparkling, which is and then champagne method. Those are very, very.
There's very few ingredients. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but there's only like 4 ingredients here.
Yeah.
And so there's hardly, or no, sorry.
Yeah.
3.
This
Sorry,
one
3.
says water, rice koji.
Rice koji,
Yeah.
that's it. So the sweetness comes from starch, which is amazing.
So I think another question in the chat was basically like unopened. Oh, I don't know if Shino can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, like an unopened one, like how long does it last and is there an expiry date?
Unopened sake?
Yeah.
Usually I think sake doesn't have any expiry date on the label. Usually they put the production date, but they sometimes do two different date. Production date is when you bottle it, and produce date is when it's before bottle it. So it's a little bit confusing, but anyways, basically I would say if you see the production date, within 1 or 1.5 years is the best before open it. Once you open it, you need to
3 days. Oh, we lost you.
Oh. Can you hear us?
Can hear you guys. Yep. Can't hear Shino.
No.
But if it's not open,
if it's not open,
there you go.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's not the ginjo style sake, you can have it for 1 month even after open it.
Okay.
So aside from like junmai, are there any keywords or that we should look for that would speak to quality, or is that just the main? Is that the main one?
Yeah, the category is really important. I want you to remember 4 words. Ginjo, if you see ginjo, which is Gijyo. Ginjo means floral, refined. These are, I don't think there's nothing to saying it because those are not that category, subcategory. But if you go into the liquor store, I want you to check if it's ginjo or junmai or honjozo. Sorry, there's so many words.
No, that's what we were looking for. Yeah.
It's okay. Yukari will put it in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
She knows how to spell all that stuff in Romaji. So
Junmai, what was the last one?
Honjozo.
Oh, honjozo.
H-O.
Honjozo. Okay. This one says, Sayuri says junmai, but it's in Japanese.
Yeah, they sometimes don't translate it. So I guess this is a pure nigori, which is only 4 component, very small, like basic ingredient.
Just essentially just look at how many ingredients they have.
Yeah, I think that's
as long as you stay away from Gekkeikan, you're usually good.
Yeah, because this one as well only has 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients, and one of the ingredients is carbon dioxide, which is 4 with water. Yeah. This is going to be a weird question as well, but like, is there anything we should avoid with sake? Is there anything that doesn't go well with sake? I can't imagine so, but I'm curious if there's some, like, oh, don't do this. Like, it would just be against sake culture. Like, you don't want to taste this, or you don't want to.
No, that's actually fun about sake. You don't really have crush much. like Chardonnay and asparagus, sometimes that, something like that. Sake have a 10 times more amino acid compared to wine. So it's more broad strike zone to, you can pair with so many different variety. Yeah, also, I try not to give up on sake. Like if like first impression, oh, I don't like this sake, but you can change the temperature as well. That's another thing, fun thing about sake. I don't think.
Oh, no.
Lost you.
Can't hear you.
Yeah,
It kind of comes and goes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
now you're back.
Okay.
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
You can change the temperature. You can heat it up to 60 Celsius.
Is there like a particular type that you would
Heat
always
it up.
have heated?
Yeah, it's
Or-
avoid the ginjo.
Okay.
Everything else, junmai, honjozo, good.
Daiginjo?
No,
Okay. So
Yeah.
anything that has ginjo in it, don't heat it up?
yeah, I
Okay.
recommend it.
Okay.
That's a basic
Oh,
idea.
sorry.
And then Ian and I've been to Ian a few times just having the flights, but most of the flights we noticed you guys, it's like bartender choice.
Mhm.
Do you guys choose what you put on there? How do you guys kind of pick that pairing?
On the flight,
Yeah.
I told everybody that we do have over 50 variety of sake, which is overwhelming, but you really actually categorize in four types. So the flight is something like, I want you to know about sake. That's like a great example of four such a different characteristic of sake. So I usually put the ginjo style first, 2, daiginjo, ginjo, junmai, and honjozo. And then I hope your server did explain that you should try starting from left to right.
Yeah. There's usually a
it's-
card on there and they
Okay.
tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, so lighter aromatic one going to a little bit more heavier. So it's like starting from white wine and going to more bold red wine kind of idea.
Perfect. And then we noticed that you guys also categorize by region as well.
Mm-mm.
Are there quite drastic differences between the different regions in Japan?
Yeah, apparently, say like a wine world, there are a like big region and stuff. Sake has a region, has regionality big time. Like if you're in Ishikawa prefecture, for example, it's a mountainous area, and then it's more their cuisine is more salty food. It's more like they have more cured food, more salty. It's kind of like a pickled vegetable. Those are the nature of their food. And then sake was paired with that, goes well with that kind of food. So it's also, yeah, if you are living in a coastal area and then the ocean, seafood is coming daily basis, that kind of place always have a more lighter flavor of sake, goes well with.
Lost you again.
Oh no.
Come back. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, we lost you there.
Oh,
You're back.
okay. Yeah,
had-
so
Had
there's-
lighter tasting sake and seafood.
Mhm. But now there's there's a truck, you can get certain rice from this area and then combine with water from here. So it doesn't have to be get from this local area. You can actually pick and choose water and rice from different places.
Mhm.
So it's not really, some brewers enjoying making those combination, like too creative about it. But some brewers stick to tradition that they can they make only sake that local weather offer. Do you understand?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay,
so we'll let them get to some of the questions in the chat, but just one last question for you for now. But do you have a favorite sake and why? And is it served at Ine as well?
Yes, I have so many. I love so many sake, but I would say my favorite is Junmai style, Junmai Yamahai style. That's it's kind of like a sourdough bread. It's natural lactic acid incorporated. Usually sake is, when you brew it, they add lactic acid to kill other bacteria and stuff. So those are the regular one. But Yamahai style is slow fermentation, and then they will capture lactic acid from the air. So it's like when you are making a sourdough starter. If you made it before, I think you understand. But you feed it and then stir and get the bacteria grow. So it takes usually 2 weeks longer than regular sake making, and then it's very labor intensive. But the taste has a so bold flavor. I love whiskey personally, whiskey and then bourbon. That kind of like old man taste buds I have. Like
Are you gonna do a Japanese whiskey tasting next year? If so, we sign up
yes.
for that next year. That would be
yeah. So bold flavor, I love.
Are you able? Oh, I guess can we put that sake in the chat? I guess as well. Or
What did you say? Is
Yamahai?
it Yamahai?
Yeah.
Is that available at Ine though?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Did you say Junmai?
Junmai Yamahai.
I don't think I've ever had that, so I will remember that.
Well, Yukari, you haven't been out in a while either, right? So
no, but
once
once
this pandemic's over, I think there's going to be an avalanche down to Ine.
Yeah,
we'll definitely see Ian and I down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thanks, guys, gentlemen, Ian and Spencer, for being our guinea pigs. And
yeah, we definitely recommend these for sure. This one's really, really good, like really surprising. We definitely haven't had something like this before, so I would definitely please, if you like, it's like a light sparkling wine, but it's nice and sweet. This one a little bit different as well, but I would definitely recommend this as well. It's also sweet, but just in a different way, kind of creamy. Really liked it.
Check them both out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having us. Definitely.
Thank you.
There's one last question in the chat. What are the best ways to heat up the sake?
Sorry, one more time.
Oh, what is the best way to heat up the sake?
Best way, I would say, put in a hot at home. Maybe I don't think there's a
bottle temperature. Yeah.
There's a heating device, but you don't need to have those. You can just boil the water, and then it kind of like you can find in
a saucepan or something, right?
Like boil water and put it in
take it off the heat and then put it into
that's how I do it. Put the bottle, not this bottle, but
Spencer has a baby bottle heater.
Yeah, baby warmer.
Baby bottle heater.
90 seconds.
Or you can put the bottle directly in there. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
And boil the hot water.
Yeah, and then make sure open the lid.
Right. Okay.
And then boil it.
Yeah, but not to boil the sake, right?
No.
Not to the boiling. That's too hot. Okay.
And so we got that in the chat window there. So for any of you who sent questions in, but we didn't have time to get to them, if you want to email your question, or you got stuff you're thinking about, like food pairings and that sort of thing, because Shino started to talk about that there are, you know, kind of some things that work better together. You can send those questions to info@vncs.ca, and we will forward the whole list on to Shino, just like we did at the virtual fair. And she will get back to each of you individually and give you the answers to your questions. So if you wanted to know, you know, something more about different types or cost, all that sort of stuff, she's more than happy to take those questions. So if you send them into our inbox, we'll make sure they get over to her.
Great. Well, thank you, Shino-san and Spencer and Yin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shino.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Right.
Right. Well, I guess that it's coming to the end here, Yukari, of another virtual event here at the VNCS.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Just to remind you, this session was recorded, so we will put it on VNCS YouTube channel. So share it with your friends and family who couldn't watch it today. Also, if you enjoyed this program, maybe, well, we are reopening the economy, so who knows, we might have a in-person fair this fall. We don't know, but if you feel like you want to support VNCS, please feel free to donate to VNCS. All the information is in vncs.ca. Do we have any event coming up this summer?
Well, we'll definitely be doing Obon will be coming up in August. We haven't set a date yet, but that's typically happens in August. And also, I think I want to say Japan Fest we have been doing before pre-pandemic. So we'll see if that happens based on where we are. And then obviously the next big event would be our cultural fair in October, which I'm pretty confident that we'll be having some kind of in-person event. But we would really love feedback from anyone who attended today. If you thought that this type of programming or presentation style was good, and we've been looking for ways to not have every event be a come in person. So we've been talking about adding virtual type things to either outside the fair like this, or even having it during the cultural fair. So if you've got any ideas or comments or feedback, please just feel free to send it to info@vncs.ca, and we will discuss it at our board level. And Natsuki, who is our chair of the Heritage Committee, is going to have a Ross Bay Cemetery walking tour at some point. So all of that will either be posted through Facebook or our e-newsletter, which Yukari is the lead editor on. And of course on our website, usually everything is posted there. But yeah, we're just looking for feedback of, should we be pursuing more things like this? And do you have any other ideas for content? Like we've been talking about doing Japanese cooking, and the camera angles that Michiko Sensei did on having the Ikebana, I think would work really well for like cooking, if people wanted to know how to, you know, make sushi or other Japanese dishes. That's other things we've been talking about.
I remember before the pandemic, I think Shino and I were talking about like some sort of sake event, also like a Japanese movie event. Like those are all out the window with the pandemic, but you know, now that we're reopening, I would love to revisit those plans. So if you have any ideas, like, you know, we would love to do this, please let us know. Again, info@vncs.ca, or just go to VNCS website and you can sign up for a newsletter. We also have Twitter and Instagram too, Victoria Nikkei on social media. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you,
thanks,
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Really, really appreciate all those who were able to join today, and super duper thanks to Michiko Sensei and Susan for that awesome Ikebana overview. I learned a lot of stuff today. And Shino, as always, it's such a pleasure to be able to get your delve into the mind of Shino and get some of that really interesting information about sake Like that, just the 4 types. Now that I've heard it a few times, it's starting to stick in my brain of what are kind of the levels. So thanks again, and definitely for Ian and Spencer. Thanks for joining us, and great back and forth and questions. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
So I really enjoyed it. It's Yukari and I, you know, we end up doing a lot of this stuff, so we're always happy when we can sit in the background and just participate and enjoy. So Tsugio, did you want to, you know, finish off with any closing comments? You're on mute. He's like, I'm eating.
Putting you on the spot.
No,
I saw your
okay.
camera come on, so.
Yeah, no, I thought this was an excellent event, and I concur with what you said, Craig, that you know, we're looking for feedback from our membership of what type of events we should be holding, because now that we've gained some experience on holding virtual events, we can mix and match. And because as I said in my opening remarks, the virtual events, they do have their advantages, and and I think it will allow us to reach more people. And there are some people, for example, at the cultural fair, there were some seniors that really enjoyed watching the cultural fair because they have mobility issues and can't make it in person. But we are looking to have a more regular or back to some semblance of normalcy in the months, and hopefully we can hold another in-person cultural fair. So thank you once again for all the organizers, for all the presenters, and for the people who joined us on this event. Good job.
Yep. Good job, everybody. Otsukaresama.
Otsukaresama deshita. Thank you,
Thanks for all your
everyone.
hard work. And we will see you all at the next VNCS event, whether virtual or in person, depending on how the opening restart 2.0 happens. But we really look forward to seeing you either virtually or in person. And we really do thank you for spending some time with us today.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Michiko Sensei. Mieko, I think we can, oh.